Good morning and welcome back. F. here alongside Hindu Man, and we've got a slew of exciting games on the docket for you today. The finals will be eager as they face off against Release, who have earned the right to play there after an excruciating 5-game set against Juice. But first, we've got the third place match, which will be Juice versus Elevate.
Now, neither of these teams from this rest of the tournament can actually make it to Worlds, but there is future chances for them. However, there is prize money involved for these two, and to be fair, some bragging rights as well to show off who's actually the better team. And it's going to be an interesting tale between these two.
These two teams, like we said, there was a lot of hours, really, in what Juice had to do yesterday, so we'll see how they've recovered and how they've adjusted in their individual play. We saw a couple of things that really stuck out to us specifically, and then on the other side, you've got Elevate, who also have to sort of rise to the occasion to come up on top for that third place spot.
Well, the first thing to talk about really is the tale of the two junglers, because both of them, to an extent, are new to the role. TeeVee used to be the support player for Juice Gaming. Now he's transitioned into the jungle. He's only been there for about 2 weeks, and it kind of showed yesterday with some of the picks that we saw come out of him. Same across the way, we do have Pooka as well, and he normally plays the AD carry role for the boys of Elevate, but with the suspension being implemented, he'd had to move to the jungle, and they brought in Hotbo as their AD carry, so it's two junglers here that are relatively new to the role, and a lot is going to ride on them.
See, what I'm looking at that hunter role. I'm looking at Transonics on the side of Juice, and I'm looking at stand-in Hotbo on the side of Elevate. I think these two guys are extremely talented, but do have to sort of reel in some of their emotions, and they can be like runaway trains.
A little bit over-aggressive, I think. I think that's just the hunter mentality on Xbox. They've all taken a page out of Zapman's book.
I was going to say, you know what, in general, we do have people like Zapman, so you do have to be aware that that's kind of just how the hunter mindset is. But with that in mind, we'll take a look at how these two teams match up. You mentioned the jungle, I mentioned the hunter role, and there's a lot of sort of standout veterans in the other roles.
Well, to be fair, from what I can tell, like for me, it's going to come down to the junglers, and it's also going to come down to the solo laners as well. Dust yesterday for Juice Gaming had a very good performance, pretty much throughout his Summer Con games, little lackluster, but the rest of his performance, absolutely fantastic. Across the way, though, Elevate have a very, very good solo laner, who a lot of people have claimed is like one of the strongest because he never really loses lane. I should remember his name. Uzzy, that's the one. Yeah, so Uzzy's actually been spoken about probably one of the strongest players on the Elevate roster as well. So keep an eye on that solo lane matchup, because both of those two yesterday had good performances. Can they materialize it into wins for the team?
So really, when we're looking at Elevate, if we're on the side of Juice and our game plan is to go directly against Elevate, what are we looking for as far as picks and bans or strategy?
Strategy-wise, I think Juice Gaming need to go inside themselves more than anything, because I think most of the time yesterday, it felt like they almost defeated themselves with some of their picks and bans. Didn't seem to work out for them in some of the stages of the game. They went very late with TeeVee in the jungle, hyper carries to an extent, instead of maybe when they played an earlier god like a Wheelix, it worked out a lot stronger for them, I felt, than going for like the late game Carlies, the Nemesis picks as well. Maybe look for something a little bit earlier in the jungle that could be more effective. Maybe look for the Bastet that we saw at Xing at some point yesterday. That could be quite useful.
Yeah, for me, for Juice, it really came down to the games that not only they won, but also won in particularly good fashion, was when we saw early game stuff out of the jungle, mid-game stuff out of Dust in the soul lane, and then just allow Transonics to be a hunter in the late game and absolutely mow down the opposition. So if I'm Juice, that's probably where I'm going to be thinking.
And Elevate personally, they should just stick to their guns with what they ran yesterday against Ika. They looked very, very strong in those matches. They went backwards and forwards for the most part. 3-1 for me was a pretty realistic scoreline, but at the same time, I don't think it gave as much credit to Elevate as they actually showed.
I agree. If I'm on the side of Elevate here, like I said, I think I pay attention to Hotbo, and I think I pay attention to Uzzy. Those two characters for me are really who I want to sort of give the game, put the hands of the game into. Right now, you've got Transonics, one of the only Xbox native players here. And he's going to be the hunter for Juice, of course. First two bans are out. Elevate says no Sun Wukong and no Zhang or Hell.
Fast bans coming through. I think they exactly know where they want to go to. I don't see Elevate banning Khepri here. They shouldn't do, because I don't think that made an influence for Juice Gaming yesterday. They should leave that one up and see if Juice go to it. If they do, I feel like they could technically abuse that. And if they don't go for that, they can pick it up themselves, which is an even stronger option.
I agree. I really liked Gili on the Geb.
Gili
on the support player for Juice. I really liked what he brought on the Khepri, maybe not so much. So with that Shibalaki ban towards Transonics. That'll leave Khepri open. And Juice, they got the memo. They're not going Geb, but they will be bringing the Kumbhakarna.
There was a lot of talk about Kumbhakarna coming into this tournament, about Xbox. He's very, very strong because he doesn't require too much targeting to aim your skills. Obviously, with Groggy Strike, it's a big area range, and you've got time to wind it up and channel it and find the correct target. Yawn as well. Mighty Yawn, very, very effective at creating a big gap of influence that can just mess and cause issues for the team. But I was going to say, Guan Yu is something we saw Elevate go to a couple of times yesterday. They're going again, along with Xing.
And don't forget, going back to the Kumbhakarna, this is a character that, I mean, we even saw it in the jungle. I'm not sure how effective it was in the jungle, but I do respect Kumbhakarna's ability to be in the solo lane as well. So while this is likely a support role, there is a little bit of flexibility. With the Xing Qian on the side of Elevate, I'm expecting to see that in the solo lane.
I don't know, not with the Guan Yu now. I mean, with the Guan Yu picked up here, you're probably going to see that in the solo lane more often than not. And Guan Yu very, very strong. Does have some issues with the Guan Yu yesterday too. So I'm not surprised to see a run back there. That Chronos pick though is more than likely going to Transonics in the AD carry role. We mentioned it yesterday. We never saw him default to that, but he's gone there now. And Chaac is out, F. You must be happy.
Chaac is another god on a serious note. Chaac is another god that performs well in general, but specifically on the Xbox platform because of the ability, sort of like Kumbhakarna, where there's just large areas of space, and having those big AoE abilities really helps out when you're on the console. And I mean, not for nothing, just in his own right, Chaac, the slow increase is really powerful to allow him to stick to multiple targets.
Surprised by the wheel expand there from Elevate. There's only really one god on this game at the moment that's got a leap on the side of Elevate, which is Xing. But there's no knockups either on the side of Juice Gamer that they can try and utilize with that one. I don't feel like they needed the wheel expand then. They could have looked elsewhere for their bans to the god pool of TeeVee.
See, I'm a little bit less concerned about that. A wheelish, of course, will... I always feel like that's icing on the cake when you have a composition with a lot of jumps on the enemy team or knockups on your team. A wheelish in her own right is strong. Whether or not you get the knockup from your own kid or not, it's a powerful character. Featherstep can deal damage, and then ultimate is devastating, even without the pull component. And TeeVee on that wheelish yesterday looked fantastic. So I like the ban coming out of Elevate.
We're going to see Hotbow default into that Hoyi, which we saw him very, very strong on the day before. The respect ban against the Xbalanque at the start of the game, we didn't really touch on against Transonics. Yeah. We're not going to see Hotbow have that matchup against the Xbalanque again. But all locked in as well, which means Chronos potentially could be in the mid lane now, solo lane as well. A lot of variety, but we talked about jungle picks for TeeVee here. Something early game, something aggressive, like Xing's Bastet. And what does he do? He goes Bastet as well.
I love the choice from Juice right here. They're going to put Bastet in the jungle, and really that's... I expect to see Bastet in the jungle and Kumbhakarna in the support role.
Yeah,
now, with that, Chronos can go Hunter solo mid, Chaac can go realistically mid or solo, Ullr can go Hunter solo mid. You've got a lot of ambiguity here. Elevate, on the other hand, you know Isis is going to wind up in the mid lane, Khepri is going to be support, and that leaves a little bit up to interpretation, but most likely, you think we're going to see Xing Qian in the jungle?
I don't think it'll be Xing in the jungle. Xing in the jungle, I'm not so sure about. Wave clear is not the strongest thing on that god. Well, it's strong in lane, let me put it that way, when it gets going, but in the jungle at early game, not as effective as you'd like. Maybe the Guan Yu, more than likely Guan Yu, but Khepri can do it too. We've seen it on the PC side of things, but we can run in it before, so we may see it again.
Khepri jungle can be devastating in the right hands. My question is, we sort of brought up that these two junglers are newer in their positions. Is Khepri going to be in the jungle because of that is my question.
Potentially. I mean, it's a situation that could be effective for both these teams as well. One thing I do like about today's games between these two is it's only prize money on the line. It's $500 difference between 3rd and 4th place here. But the one thing I like the most about this FDR is when the pressure's off a team, they generally play better because they realize they can just have fun with the game.
Exactly.
And there's no extra pressure to try and, oh gosh, we've got to make it to the finals. So it's all down to these best of 3 between the two teams. But you'll probably see some better action out of both of them than we saw yesterday.
I agree. Juice Gaming versus Elevate. It's a best of 3, folks. This is for the 3rd place match right here. Juice Gaming versus Elevate, and we'll get a look at it.
Chaac money mid.
It will be a solo Ullr, and we're going to see Chaac money mid. Purified bringing the Mayan warrior into the mid lane.
Now, expected potentially to see Purified take that all into the mid lane, just because against an Isis it's very, very effective in terms of wave clear and push power against an Isis to keep it even. However, with a Chaac in the mid lane, his wave clear along with Bastet in the early game is pretty strong up against an Isis, and it's going to be the Guan Yu jungle, I believe, which I expected more than likely with the Xing solo. Yeah, Guan Yu jungle. Wave clear is pretty even between these two teams in the mid lane, so the rotation damage from them are going to be about the same sort of time. The only difference is Bastet is definitely a little bit more mobile and being able to get around and try and put pressure on. I want to see TeeVee look into this duo lane and looking to put down Hotbow early. Take him out of this engagement. He's the new member on the team at the moment. Try and abuse him as much as possible. Make him waste mana by having to use his leaps consistently. And when he runs out of mana, he's going to have a bad time.
Hotbow is definitely somebody that Juice is going to want to focus. The mid lane also, not for nothing, a Bastet and a Chaac. With you take a look at how the loadouts are looking. Chaac is going to be starting with that red potion. So Chaac and Bastet combining, this can definitely spell an early kill in the mid lane if Elevate is not careful.
Very, very careful indeed. They've got to be. And I like the idea that they both went power pot here for the Juice game. It's just to help them clear the jungle a little bit quicker more than anything else and stop the chance of an early invade coming out that could cause some issues. Obviously, having someone like Guan, who's a little bit tankier, and a Xing 10, which is obviously tanky as a Guardian, will help them out. And Chaac, with that power pot in the mid lane, his wave clear will be increased a little bit more to just be able to sustain this first wave of express damage that you'll see out of an Isis generally.
Exactly. And Chaac, see, Isis is giving Chaac some distance, which will allow him to really build up his passive and save that mana. Mid camp's going to be split here. Nobody really wants to fight over them too much.
Not at level 2. You don't really want to see Chaac try and take on a Guan Yu and an Isis at level 2. It's not worthwhile just yet. Let him farm up, get his axe a couple more levels into that, and then his damage will be able to wave clear and fast rotations will be available.
There's that torrent. Chaac very mobile, but see, look at that damage coming out just from the minions and the power pots.
Ooh, and he's not got health. If TeeVee can find a pounce, he should be able to find first blood, and he does, and jukes out the spirit ball as well. TeeVee taking a very quick first blood.
This is exactly the game plan that we were thinking about in Handyman. We said TeeVee should be looking to be powerful early on. That's not going to be enough to kill Gili. TeeVee should be looking to be powerful early on, mid-game, but late-game Transonics. You know what they do? They put him on a Chronos. That is late game.
They want a hyper carry. They always want a hyper carry in the team of Juice. It seems that way anyway from what we've seen. The one mistake I saw out of Elevate there more than anything was they went aggressive onto Chaac when he came in to the engagement with the torrent. The problem is that they were in a full minion wave of Juice Gaming's minions, and you've got to respect the minions at level 2. If you don't, you're going to take a big lot of punishment, and he did.
Exactly. There was a lot of damage put out by Purified there, but probably
it was more
close
minions.
To equal amount minions.
Yeah, more minions for me personally. Between what happened then. So that was the small mistake that I saw out of them. And for me, that's, once again, a little bit of jungling experience. You know, normally in the laning phase, you wouldn't normally make those mistakes. You respect the minions a little bit more, or you don't realize how tanky you're not.
Dust looking for the combo here. I'm not sure if you can kill Uzzy at this point, but he can definitely put him very low. This axe going to be off the mark.
Slane's one of those interesting ones, because the one thing that we don't see out of a Xing 10 is he's not got much sustain, so he's going to have to chunk through these health potions. Ullr has the burst potential, and he's relatively safe up against a Xing 10 as well, because he can use the axe when he tries to close the gap, or leap away himself if he needs to. And even when he's trying to close the gap, you can burst him down quite considerably.
Look at this, Purified, full health, full HP, able to push an Isis onto the tower, Hindu Man.
Well, that's because of Bastet's presence as well, and with the fact that Guan Yu fell early, it just caused some more issues. But Dust is going to have a good time in this lane. I don't think Elevate expected this Ullr to be solo.
You know what's interesting about the Ullr is when we see it on PC, one of the I don't want to say caveats, but one of the takeaways that we always bring is how execution heavy this character is. As a minion absorbs a stun out of the axe. But we always talk about how execution heavy this character is, and how you really have to be able to land your combo almost without a stun. So, translating into Xbox, where we've sort of celebrated gods like Kumbhakarna and Chaac because of how less reliant they are on execution, it really shows Dust's confidence here, bringing the Ullr into the game.
And if he could do that, this rotation to mid lane, great epic uppercut. Purified's waiting with the axe, and there is the silence as well. But he got the circle of protection down in time, and with Khepri here as well in the heal, it looks like Purified's going to go for an early bath.
Yeah, a little bit problematic there. Little problem with the sequencing going out for Chaac. Didn't get the damage from the axe, and the circle of protection was able to be laid out by the mid laner. And of course, Khepri showing up. I don't think that was part of the plan at all for Juice. So
it was a good response.
A nice look, but
Elevate made a better response, and now TeeVee's under pressure. He actually pounces into a rough situation there. Luckily, the minions of those cats are going to body block nicely. Spirit Ball does not connect with TeeVee, so he does get out of danger. I think the gank, though, that happened with Purified and Gili there was Puri really should have just ulted immediately and timed it with the landing so that we wouldn't have seen Isis get the ultimate off. The ultimate kick coming down meant that he could protect himself a little bit more, heal afterwards, and still had a Khepri coming in anyway. Could have been a different story if he landed this silence first.
a little bit of fun the Hunters are having here. We were talking to the Hunters earlier, and
we went into man fight, didn't we? I was like, listen, guys, go in and man fight. Tell the supports not to rotate into this lane anymore. Go away. You don't need wards because no one's going to gank you. And make them fight. Instead they're going to farm.
Instead, they farm and they wave.
Yep, they're going to farm and wave and wait for late game and then try and destroy the whole team, like all good AD carries should.
Purified back into the fray. Level 6 versus the opponent Isis level 7. Gold, pretty much even. Ice is ahead by about 50 or 60, not too big of a deal. Purified going to clean up these camps and head right back to lane.
Nice little bonus though coming out for Khepri here, actually having that first kill go to him on the side of Elevate. Means that he can get his boots online a little bit quicker, which means he'll be able to spam his abilities a bit more with the Shoes of Focus, which is a good thing.
So much pressure being put in the solo lane by Dust. Constantly we see Uzzy, who, like we said, celebrated as one of the better players here, just forced underneath the tower. Gili gets a good yawn.
I just realized my information's been completely wrong because gustavy used to be was a support player for this, but it's actually Pooka in that support role right now. And we've got gustavy in the jungle. I didn't realize that until just now because I was mentioning jungle transitions because obviously they lost their original jungler for this tournament. He's going to be back next week. But with him being out, they've had to make differences, and that's why we see Hotbow coming in.
And not for nothing, Hotbow has really made the impact. We saw in game number 2 specifically in the first series against Ullr, really able to pull it out on the Ho Yi. So we'll see if Hotbow can repeat that performance from game number 2 here today.
I spoke about the solo laners, and we mentioned that we don't really see too much of Uzzy ever losing lane. This lane is definitely against him, though, but he's got to play it correctly, and I feel like he is. And as long as he doesn't give up a kill to Dust here, he's doing good work, and he's got to wait for ganks, which has just arrived.
Dust thrown underneath the tower, and he's going to be stuck there, but a strong jump. Here comes gustavy. 1-2 hits, but here comes Purified.
Oh.
Silence is strong. It's not strong enough to save Dust. Now Puri's here. TeeVee and Gili coming, but they're bringing aggro. Drop down the circle of protection. Purified still in some trouble, surrounded by members of Elevate, while his friends on Juice are staying on the outside. Uzzy takes down Purified, and here comes Khepri. This is a bad situation for Gili and TeeVee. They need to find the exit.
So the circle of protection is what saved the day there. Gili could get caught out there, but a quick throwback will get him away from where the route was going to be coming from. But the rotation for Elevate was fantastic. The circle of protection, you noticed how TeeVee and Gili were both isolated of coming in and trying to be more effective in that. They had to wait for it to explode. But while that was going on, Purified was just being focused down by 3 members, and he picks up another kill for Elevate. Elevate's response time to ganks is fantastic, and the gank onto Dust was correct at the right time, which I was just discussing.
Right. It just wasn't, the response from Juice was staggered. That was my big problem. Purified came in by himself, followed up by Gili and TeeVee, who did come as a unit, but they came in a hair too late. So unfortunately, unable to impact the game the same way Elevate was, where the whole unit, there was just 3 people all of a sudden assisting the right side of the map. So it's all about strength in numbers.
Agreed. I'm surprised Dust didn't expect that gank coming though, because that was the one opportunity they were going to have, is if he overextended a little bit and Xing managed to find that ultimate ahead of time, and then Guan, you could follow up after the leap with the cavalry charge. They executed it perfectly and it worked out great. One thing to know, Guan, you did take blink, which is one thing we don't see too often, but it does allow him to close the gap and keep hold of his charge to be able to slow them down afterwards and continue a chase.
Purified 0-2-1, still very aggressive. We saw him just march up that mid lane, throw an axe at aggro, and then immediately walk into the enemy jungle. He had some assistance from his team, but still very confident and very, very strong. Don't forget, Chaac is a warrior, so he's going to be a little bit more resistant.
Well, it's a funny situation because normally a mid laner, they generally play the mages and they're there for the damage. This time around, he's more there for the for the front line, but Dust in a little bit of trouble again, and TeeVee was over here at the same time looking for some pressure. But so was gustavy.
Gustavy. TeeVee going in. Gustavy's going to be forced to use the ultimate defensively, as is Uzzy. Just a hair of HP on that Guan Yu, but ultimately be forced away.
Purified though.
Not going to get there in time. Might be able to make a change onto Uzzy.
Well, the blue buff has spawned here as well, so I like this rotation coming out from Purified to put the pressure on the jungle here. Knowing that he's got support from his teammates and he's pushed in mid lane, Isis has to come over to try and defend the blue buff, but she's going to miss a wave of experience in mid, which is a good impact for Juice.
Purified gets stunned out. Aggro and Uzzy are here. No one from Juice anywhere close. They're at their blue buff, but Purified able to heal up and use Torrent.
Well, he tried to use the torrent to jump over the wall then. Missed by a little bit, but that's fine. It's okay. Gili in the mid lane though needs to watch himself because he's in a bit of an awkward position alone there, so he's tuning him with a man fight in the left.
Transonics gets the stun. Hotbow misses his. Transonics not even firing shots
boots.
back, just
juke boots.
dancing shoes on. Hotbow unable to find the Chronos. As soon as Accelerate
Guess
comes
who's coming?
back up.
TeeVee's coming though, as we do see a kill in mid lane onto Purified from Aggro, finding that one on Isis. A good 3-man versus 2 over there. But TeeVee's really looking for this pick onto Hotbow. But can he find it? Because the leap is up.
No clue he's here. There's the slow. Jump is strong. Razor Claw's already used.
He leaps into the jungle, surprising towards his teammates. I like the call from Hotbow there. Could have gone back to tower, but TeeVee would have followed him with the pounce instead. Jumps to where the cavalry's coming from. Literally the cavalry with Guan Yu.
Transonics here, level 11. The Hotbow's level 10. Both players, nothing on their boards, but Transonics winning this lane by way of gold by about 400.
400 for now. It may swing back very, very quickly. And the way the game's going at the moment, Elevate, for me, are controlling this game. And by them doing so, oh, Gili's in a lot of trouble here. Luckily, he's got his passive, but I don't think he's going to save him. 1
stun, 2 stun. That's the 3rd stun. That one's going to be a little bit longer, as he's going to be dead right there. Elevate Gustavy getting credit for that one. Fantastic kills. Let's listen to Elevate as they decide what to do.
Oh, look to bait this.
Look at Chronos. Chronos is there. I can push.
Xing's coming in. Look at Xing ult.
What? Oh my god, not hit him. Careful, I'm not there. I'm not rotating.
I'm clearing cats.
Yeah.
That jump.
I'm taking this tower. I'm just taking tower.
Yeah, that's fine. I need ult. I'm fine.
Oh, Chronos, Chronos!
Wait, Chronos?
That's his ult.
I have heals, stay together. Yeah, we can. I've got ult up in 2. Ult up in 2. I have my 3. Look at Chaac,
Chaac.
You guys are like...
Damage reduction. I gave you the damage reduction. Stay in the ice. Good job.
Yeah.
Go, Ullr. Oh, shit, I missed.
That's alright. Can we stay together? Yeah.
Just stay together. I'm getting this free right tower. I'm getting this free right tower.
I'm gonna root him.
I have heals. Stay together. Look at mids.
Yeah, get.
I think he got those.
Alright, I got the tower.
Free tower.
Yeah.
Nice job. These are down.
Left mids are here.
I still have heals. Okay.
I got free right tower, so that was huge. You guys...
Well, it started to look like a bad situation where Uzzy grabs nobody with the ultimate, quickly turns strong, as not only does Purified walk into a group of 5, or 4 rather, which is important, because the 5th member, Hotbow, was on the left side of the map the whole time, taking away Transonics tower.
And they still pick up the kill on Purified as well there. It worked out so well for the boys of Elevate, even though Xing 10 missed his ultimate, it didn't really matter too much to them. It was funny to always listen to Comzo when you miss something, and like, no. And they sounded very disheartened to begin with, but things seemed to work out very well for them. Gili very late with the ultimate there, with the epic uppercut that came in. Didn't really manage to find anything. He just felt like he was using it for the sake of trying to feel useful.
Bounce.
And instead, they lose a tier 1 tower, and the pressure back on the side of Elevate once again. They're in the driving seat.
Yeah, going back to what you said about the missed ultimate out of Uzzy, that's really what that's when I started listening. Or specifically, because I wanted to see how Elevate reacted to that, right? So Uzzy misses the ult.
They're really looking for Gili here if they can find him. But Rima on the backside. Purified knows that Isis is over here. But
Purified
can they make anything
walk
happen?
into the group again. He's got 4 deaths
TeeVee coming now.
because of it.
TeeVee is on his way as well. Can they make something happen? It doesn't look like it. Immediately everybody going to back away. But Elevate in the driving seat now. Can we look at the graphs and just see how the golden experience is? Because no Gold Fury's gone down yet. Yep. We can see this lead is starting to develop nicely.
It's a slight lead by way of Elevate, both experience and
I just mentioned Gold Fury, and it looks like they're starting.
Elevate, don't forget, they do have the Isis ultimate. Chaac is strong against these objectives, but with that amount of damage and the Isis ultimate down, there's really not much you can do, even with an AoE silence. TeeVee jumps in, might be an issue. Purified gets a good, strong stun. A silence against 3 of them. Down come the Sun to prevent a little bit of aggression. Hotbow trying to make things happen. Transonics. Purified comes in to help out his Hunter. Hotbow takes out Chronos. Purified has to find a way out.
The Khepri ult timing was beautiful.
And TeeVee's in trouble.
TeeVee's dead, not in trouble. It's over for him. He can go back to base and start shopping for more items right now. But that was a lovely play. Purified does finally pick up a kill on Hotbow on the backside of that one. But that fight, once again, well played by Elevate. And the best thing I'm noticing about them is this is an actual team. There's no one going crazy and getting kill signs in the head. They rotated back to the team and stuck as a unit through that whole fight. And it worked out amazingly for them. Oh, wow.
That's a strong ultimate out of Uzzy. That one certainly didn't miss as Purified eats dirt. Gili goes down as well. Dust, the only one alive here in the mid lane. Transonics coming up as well. Right out of the base, but Elevate get what they came for. They take a Gold Fury, a couple of kills, and a mid tower. Elevate now significantly leading by about 4,000 gold and 8 kills.
One more fight like that and Juice should just go back to the drawing board and get on with game 2, because at the moment this is not working out for them. Things have not gone off the way they wanted to, And it's unfortunate because I like the matchup that they put with Ullr in the solo lane here. I felt like Chaac in the mid lane got off to a great start with that first blood. But since then, they've not managed to make anything happen for themselves.
For me, it's not the picks and bans. A couple of times, on day number 1, we saw issues with Juice where I just looked at the draft and said, you know what, I don't think this is going to pan out. And 55 minutes later, it wound up not panning out.
This feels more communication.
I like this draft.
This feels more communication than me. Elevate seem better and on the same page a little bit more than the Juice Gaming boys do. And Elevate are performing absolutely fantastically. The rotations are on point. They're realizing where the enemy's going to be coming from, and they're sticking as a team.
With that said, Elevate, there is definitely problem for TeeVee. Huge Spirit Ball. TeeVee able to get out of there. Purified ults pretty much just defensively, but TeeVee takes a huge chunk of HP by way of that Isis. Elevate.
Oh, man fight, man fight.
Hot bow versus Transonics. Transonics gets the stun, gets the time rift. There's the ultimate out of the hot bow, but Transonics lands the basic 1v1. Hot bow goes down.
If you're gonna fight a Chronos and you don't have beads, you're gonna have a bad time.
Dust surrounded by the enemy. Here comes the Guan ult. Jump already down for Dust. He's got 10%. He's got 0. Gustavy on the good side of that one. Gili's here with TeeVee. Cats are dropped. They're trying to make Uzzy pay while the rest of Team Elevate looks towards the tower. But here comes the team looking at the members.
Yeah, although I thought they were actually going to be able to bring down Aussie there, but they're not. And instead, Gili under pressure has to go back to tower. Purified dives in against 4 now, but Fury's going to get murdered.
Heal is just not strong enough against 4 players that are up that amount of gold. And right there, that's been the issue for Purified the entire game. Chaac is a tanky character. He's a warrior. He's got to heal, but consistently we've seen Purified sort of overestimate how tanky he is. Just going into groups of 4, whether it's to be aggressive or defensive for the rest of his team, and it hasn't come up in his favor at all.
It's 16 minutes in. I'm already talking about the last hope for the boys at Juice Gaming in this one is Transonics, but the problem is that Elevate, they're not letting up on the right-hand side in the middle of the jungle here. Meanwhile, Transonics is having a good time against Hotbow. We just saw that 1v1. I don't think we'll see that happen again now. Because Elevate should just continue piling the pressure down this mid and right-hand side, and Hotbow just needs to farm this one out for the time being. The game should end.
That's also what I wanted to mention when you brought up how Elevate looks like just a team, very strong. It's interesting to note how the 4 of them in the mid lane, Hotbow is split pushing, right? And when there was when Purified did get his only kill of the game, it was because Hotbow was isolated in the jungle. Elevate here look like 4 and 1. They don't look like 5, which this game hasn't been a problem. I think the Achilles heel of this Elevate team, Juice, need to pay attention to Hotbow and just force Elevate to respond.
I'd agree with that if it wasn't for the fact that they're losing too much on the other sides of the map right now. Mid's behind, solo's behind. If you don't go and defend those lanes, you're going to lose towers for completely free. You've just lost a tier 2 in the right lane as well. And now the only tier 2 remaining in the other 2 lanes is in the mid. And you get in.
Juice has a numbers advantage here. Aggro in some trouble with Purified on the good side of this fight. Gili sends the mace up in the air. The pop's going to heal.
So
and now Purified's all alone.
Oh, around the back, though, comes Transonics. Can he make something happen? He needs to for his team. He's looking for the damage to pick up the kill on Isis, but a great Khepri ultimate keeps Isis in the fight, and instead Rewind is forced onto Transonics, who falls straight into Hotbow.
Hotbow shows up, nails the stun onto Transonics. Uzzy picks up TeeVee in the fray. There's 5 members of Elevate marching down this mid lane, and Juice absolutely forced to retreat. They can't be aggressive. They can't find an opening. And with Gold Fury spawning, that's exactly where Elevate is going. Juice is on the bottom side of this matchup. Let's listen to how they respond to the enemy taking Gold Fury.
Dude, they're baiting.
Damage reduction, that's beats.
Look at Kumba, Kumba in the back, Kumba in the back. I'm in trouble.
Blocking.
He's not moving.
Dude,
Nice. Kill the Khepri, kill the Khepri, kill the Khepri. Or, no, never mind. No, wait, kill me. Fuck me off, man.
No, Hoppo got me. Oh no, save me, stun him. No, you did body lados.
Nice.
Goodbye, Tran. I should have ulted him into the air instead of ulting him. Instead of ulting away.
Dude, I'm actually really useful right now.
High spirits from the guys at least, but they don't come up on top of that fight. Still trailing by 9 kills and 6,000 gold. About to be a little bit more as most of the team takes on that gold field.
To be fair, the way Juice is playing right now, it feels like yesterday has really got in their head quite a lot. There were long games yesterday. Their comms seem off. They're not all on the same page. You can hear that by how spread the team fight was there. The shot calling wasn't what we'd expect to see out of them as well. But when you're down in a game like this too, it's very difficult to try and stay motivated. This at least trying to have fun with it, still like, nice Transonic, but you know, he still falls down.
I mean, that's what's important, because as we said, this is the best of 3. So you come out here, you look at what goes wrong, what goes right, and you make the adjustments. Dust. Not getting that basic.
Adjustments, the big adjustments they really need to make here is getting on the same wavelength. There's been too many times where I've seen abilities go off that should have been held or communicated better. In the mid lane, there was a gank onto Ice a little bit earlier where she dropped the circle of protection just as Chaac was about to silence from Purified, and Gili ulted and knocked him into the sky, so he didn't get hit by the Chaac silence, and the damage was missed completely.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm seeing sequencing issues. And
TeeVee's dead.
Well, here's a big ultimate out of Chaac, but it's not enough to save the life of TeeVee. And now Elevate, they're going to go chase. 3 people here. All 3 stunned by the Guan Yu. Fantastic play. And now, well, Juice in some trouble here.
The rotation.
Transonics. No time to ult. The Hotbow gets credit for that one, dropping the Suns on top of the Chronos. Uzzy leading the way for Team Elevate as they march down this mid lane. Got the Gold Fury.
They can march where they want right now. This is a strong performance from Elevate, and this is a sign of a top team. If these guys don't make Worlds from the NA side of things, I'll be surprised right now. But at the moment, Xbox is a lot stronger than I expected it to be.
Like I said, Elevate, they just got the Gold Fury, so with that objective down, all they have in mind is towers and phoenixes. Dust here, gonna beads away from the Uzzy Wuzzy ultimate, but Xing does pick up one, and Purified's gonna fall for that one, finding his 8th death of the game.
Like lambs to the slaughter right now at Juice Gaming. They're up against it. The Phoenix has fallen in the middle lane, left-hand side. They're going to rotate around, steal away a bit of jungle. They can look to siege up the tier 2 tower here. They've got 3 frontline tanks here. They've got a Guan Yu, they've got a Xing and a Khepri. They can just tank that up and backdoor it if they choose to. They don't need to, though. They can just go back and spend gold and maybe just look for the Fire Giant.
Well, Elevate's on the wrong side of the map if they're looking for that Fire Giant.
Man fight.
All members are here on the left. Hotbow grabs the Crow. Stun is strong. Ooh, Spirit Ball. Didn't anticipate the jump out of Dust. Hotbow trying to make things happen, but Transonics shows up.
I don't know what Dust was trying to do there, because there was no jungle really available to go and take, but he looked like he was trying to find a lazy back potentially. Instead, nearly gets himself picked off, which would have been unfortunate for him. I guess he's just trying to make something happen.
Exactly. That's really what Juice is looking for. Any window of opportunity.
They're still looking for Hotbow. They're going to find the uppercut onto him as well. He may still have his leap available. Good bees to avoid the groggy strike. Leaps away. There's no CC apart from the yawn. Obviously, it's Kumbhakarna. Maybe Chronos can find the kill now, but those minions are actually causing an issue for a second.
Hotbow in some trouble. Last hit going to Transonics. Chronos, as you said, still the shining light for Juice. They're down by a lot, folks. It's 14 kills. 10,000 gold, but at the end of the day, Chronos can still be Chronos in the late game. So if Juice hang on and Chronos finds a way to find that 40-minute game, it couldn't be problems.
TeeVee's already dead over here. He just used his pounce. Now with Guan Yu coming in and Isis round the back as well. Trying the split push option. The rest of the team were pushing up mid. They were just looking for farm, but TeeVee definitely way too deep.
Now Elevate find themselves on the right side of the map. Transonics' Chronos is split pushing on the left side, so bear that in mind. Uzzy uses teleport to show up there to provide some resistance. The rest of Juice will look towards the mid lane. They're going to go for this tower. Elevate's likely going to show up behind them.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be game here with this one, because now there's a rough situation for Purified to get out of. No one's really here to support him. He's already chunked down with the shred coming out. Silence comes to buy a second, but there's a cavalry charge, and that'll be the end of Purified in the mid lane. Chaac.
2 stuns come out of Transonics' time stop, but that's a long mess.
Messes can be long, but at the same time, once you get hit, you come out of it. It's not like a hard CC stun, but there's aggression once again with that blink. This blink has worked out so well for Gustavy on this Guan Yu jungle.
Khepri works out really well against that Chronos. If you take a look at the right side of your screen, you see Transonics, he still has that ult. And what happens when Khepri grabs you? You just silenced. So if you kill a Chronos in that Khepri abduct, he can't ult to get out of it.
Just as a dream. Dust Dream has failed, and now he's going to run away again, but he's going to get rooted, has to beat. His leap's available, but the moment he leaps in, it could be trouble. Instead, Gili could be a sacrificial lamb instead. Throwback connects, but the Spirit Ball is so strong.
So much damage coming out of Elevate as they secure the Fire Giant and the kill onto Gili. All members of Elevate find themselves here. Right lane, shoving it down. Phoenix is already down in the mid. looking for the right Phoenix as well. Meanwhile,
TeeVee's dead
TeeVee
again.
being a little cheeky, looking for the tower on the left side. Gustavy's here and puts the cat in the ground.
Yeah, this game's been over for about 7 minutes now, personally, and I think it's just gaming, just trying to make something happen, but too little, too late. I think it's time for them to call this one a day, move on to game 2, and rinse, repeat, well, reset at least, not rinse, repeat in their book.
Oppo picks up another kill. It's going to be number 4 for him, but realistically, I am looking at Khepri 6-0-15 on the support.
Very, very good performance by all the members of Elevate here. I'm not disappointed by any of them, by any stretch of the imagination. Look at him.
Elevate having fun. Jawing at the guys on Juice across the stage.
Hotbo's like, do you want to switch teams? Like,
Hotbo's the closest
I'm a
one
free
right
agent.
here. Hotbo was the last one to get the kill, and you'll take a look at Juice. Well, still smiles. Everybody generally having a good time, but I'm sure Juice definitely are a little upset that they didn't come up on top, and they're going to look to win number 2.
Yeah, it wasn't the best performance from Juice Gaming whatsoever. Let's be honest, it looked stronger yesterday. We saw long games from them. They went. What I like the best about the Juice Gaming composition here is that they put TeeVee on something more aggressive.
Exactly.
Didn't make as much of an impact as he'd like to have, I believe, on that, but I think it was the right sort of idea by the composition. Communications are just off on Juice Gaming right now.
I liked the whole draft. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, plus a Khepri ban. I think that there wasn't too many issues on the side of how Juice opted to select their gods.
I think that's we harped on about the Khepri pick yesterday. That didn't really seem to work out for Gili at all.
Yeah.
Which I think pretty sure Elevate saw that too, and were like, "Well, there's no reason to ban it. If they want to pick that, that's fine.
Oh,
it's like
it
a
really
4v.
worked for
It's like a 4v5, and if they do leave it open themselves, we can take it." And like you said, it worked perfectly.
Yeah, I think Juice need to look to ban that Khepri. That Khepri was a problem for them consistently in these team fights. And then again, just pay attention to the sequencing, the order in which the abilities come out. A lot of times we saw miscommunications when it came to the Kumbhakarna ultimates with Chaac ults, and sort of reel back that aggression. We mentioned earlier, both yesterday and today, that sometimes Transonics had a tendency to be over-aggressive. I saw Purified go into 4 people multiple times.
But he was a Chaac as well, to be fair, so he's supposed to be a frontline. What I'd like to see more, though, is that from Elevate and the way they play, they like this double Guardian and a Warrior setup, or maybe even 3 Guardians. Very, very tanky roster. What we could see out of Juice Gaming here is I'd like to see them try and match that and pick tanky Guardians themselves, tanky Warriors, and play them. They could put the Chaac mid again, maybe bring Hercules into the solo lane or something like that for Dust, and then just go for this man fight of like, let's out-sustain them and get to a later stage of the game. Maybe for hyper carry in the jungle, but not one that like takes so long to get online is the big key.
It'll be interesting. I really like the Ullr pick actually in solo, but I agree. Maybe bringing a little bit more tankiness into the lineup might be the way to go for the boys on Juice.
Well, it was more the sustain that they had as well, and the sort of CC control that the Guardians brought, as well as Guan Yu. I mean, the Guan Yu playstyle there was very aggressive, but at the same time, he was all about the CC and control. You saw him use the cavalry charge to just stun 3 and not to go for the full damage.
You know what? We want early game coming out of TeeVee, right?
Mm-hmm. What are you feeling?
We want early game coming out of TeeVee, and there's a lot of tanks on the side of Elevate.
Okay.
TeeVee needs to play Thanatos.